Don't make me don't love you more than I already do. Don't make me love you more.
Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, whatever time of day that you are watching this live. If you're just joining, I want to be very clear about what this is and very clear about what this is not. What this is not. This live that you're on now, this is not about fashion content. It's not about allowing trends to dress you. And this definitely is not for men who are looking for cheap suits. It's a conversation about alignment. Because most men aren't lacking confidence. They're lacking congruence between who they are and how they show up. When those two don't match, the world hesitates around you, even if you're capable, you're intelligent, and ready for more. I'm Anthony Abron. I'm an executive image architect and founder of The Affluent Man. I don't just fit and style men. I help them command rooms before they ever speak. So, if you're here because something feels off, your presence, your impact, how you're being received, you are in the right place. I'm going to say something that may free a lot of men tonight. You're not insecure. You're just improperly represented. When the outside of a man doesn't match the inside, the world hesitates around him. It just slows up. So let me ask you a question. Have you ever walked away from a conversation thinking, that didn't land the way I wanted it to? I didn't feel that energy when I was inside of that room. I wish I could have shown up a lot better. Well, if that's you, this live is for you. Just to be honest with you, most men are tired of the same old advice. It's the same old advice that men are given on a daily basis. But just be confident. Just work on your mindset. Fake it till you make it. Those are the same stories that I was told when I was coming up, right? And let's be very clear about something. Confidence is not your problem. Most of the men that are watching me right now, they already know who they are. They know what they bring to the table, and they know that they're capable. The problem is the world cannot verify within the first few seconds that what you are. The world doesn't respond to who you believe you are. It responds to what it can verify. Now, what do I mean by that? Oftentimes you hear many chatterboxes that are talking. They're saying, hey, listen, just be who you are. And I'm a big proponent of be who you are. Understand, be who you are, show up the way you are. But sometimes you have to understand there's a time and a place. You have to know how to show up. And many don't know how to show up. They quietly question, they show up and say, I'm just being me. And when you show up less than who you are, you do a disservice not only to you, you do a disservice to the people who are counting on you, who look to you, say, hey, that's my dad. That's my husband. That's my fiance. That's my brother. That's my cousin. That's my mentor. Or even deeper, I want him to be my mentor. Now, I can remember times in my life where I didn't show up the way I thought. And if you don't understand the importance of that, let me give you a quick story. See, many years ago when I was in college, I took on a position as an assistant manager at a pizza place inside the mall. And I was so excited about this little job. I was supplementing my income while I was going to school. And then all of a sudden, something bad happened. What it was the management there, they stole something or whatever and they tried to blame it on the local community, the local HBCU. There was some kids from there. And I went to HBCU proudly, Lincoln University in Missouri. And it was all fabricated. I'll never forget the news stations came in and they asked what happened. And they put me in front of the camera. Well, I stood up, I spoke boldly, I spoke clearly, and more importantly, I spoke the truth. It didn't take long for them to figure out who did it. The gentleman was arrested. Now, the pizza place in the mall was without leadership. There I was. Corporate found out about what had happened, and they called me in. The district manager called me in, and I'll never forget it. I looked in my closet, and I pulled out the best things that I had, because I was no novice to it, but I wasn't fully, into fashion or knowing how to show up, but I knew enough through the years to say, hey, listen, this is very important. And I showed up to that meeting with that gentleman. Never forget. It was in, I think it's the St. Charles Mall. Those that live in St. Louis area, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But I went there and I met with this gentleman, and I'll never forget, looking my best. And he began to ask me all these various questions about who I was. Let's be very clear. I knew from the moment that that man looked at me, when he looked at me up and down, there was something. I knew who I was, what I could do, and what I was capable of. Now, long story short, he went on to say some fluff and BS about how I wasn't really qualified for the position. However, I loved the position. I was good at it. I was known there. I was known there, presented the best. I responded better than the person that I was up under. Instead, he hired somebody that wasn't as crisp, wasn't as sharp, and quite frankly, it's quite embarrassing what they were. Mediocre. Why am I saying this to you? It has nothing to do about who he chose. I knew in that moment who I was. I knew in that moment when I looked at that gentleman, I knew when I looked at who he chose, I knew that I was prepared. Now listen, every door that closes is not the door that you're supposed to be going through. It only took a year and a half later when I was introduced to a position that would change my life. And my life and my lifestyle was completely different. I say this to you because the world doesn't respond to who you believe you are. It responds to what they can verify. And that verification is not always presented by the person that's sitting in front of you, but you have to be capable enough and aware of what you have and how you're going to show up. Does that make sense? So I want you to keep that in mind. Now, for those of you that may be feeling a little tug of war inside of your spirit, I'm going to make you aware of something. There's a real cost that shows up for you not being able to show up. And that cost hits you in your pocketbooks. It hits you in your heart. It hits you in your relationships. It hits you in your connections. And the last thing I want you to do is miss out on an opportunity that is built and designed for you, where your genius can show up, where you can implement the things that can make lasting change. Because let's be very clear, in the world that we live in today, we need leaders. We need voices of integrity. We need people to stand up and usher in a different direction that is strong. And I want to be clear about something as I roll back in this. If this is your very first time coming here, right? What this is not, I told you, this is not about fashion trends. This isn't about fluff and BS. This isn't about trendy things. I'm not going to teach you those things. What this also is not, this is not some red and blue pill content. No disrespect to those individuals that speak and teach that things. There's some good things on both sides, but that's not this. And I want to be very clear that women are welcome here. Women are welcome here. In my business circles, I have some of the most phenomenal women that have changed the course of my life, who are doing business dynamically, who are impacting people's lives. So I want to be very clear. While my message is geared towards men, ladies, you are welcome here. Okay? Now, back to the how it shows up and how it's impacting you. When you leave a situation where you knew you could have shown up better, tell me, have you ever replayed that conversation in your mind wondering, dang, did I say the wrong things? You start to second guess the moments in your life, you know, was something that should have really just been effortless. Yeah. But the truth is, it wasn't what you said. It was the friction between who you are and how you were perceived. The world will tell you something different. Hey, coming from Austin, Texas, and spending 15 years there, the land of the flip flop millionaires. Well, you know what? They may be flip flop millionaires now, but trust me, they knew how to show up in front of venture capitalists, in front of businesses to get where they're at so they could wear the flip flops. Does that make sense? I need you to understand that. The hesitation that you feel, this isn't fear. That's that internal conflict that's caused by your misrepresentation of who you are. Now, one of the things that the things that I teach is something called the 7 pillars of power. And one of the 7 pillars of power that I want to speak about today briefly is about freedom. And just to be clear, freedom isn't just money. Freedom is ease. Freedom is walking into a room without having to push who you are. And when I walk into a room, I never push who I am. I simply am and I be. The people who are meant to connect with me will do one of two things. They will gravitate towards me just as I will gravitate towards them. That's that natural attraction, right? Now, like I said before, most of the time there are a lot of chatterboxes online, and I can't tell you that it doesn't rub me the wrong way sometimes when I hear and I see what people are promoting online. And well, my history of being in the online space dates back to 2009. And I'll say this firmly, and I say this with intentionality. Everyone does not deserve to have a microphone put in front of their face. They just don't. Because what they do is they begin to say things that can throw people off track. And one thing I'm going to do today and continuously, I always do, is push you toward the light, push you toward the greatness that I know for a fact, the impact that you have inside of you. And the truth is, men have been lied to about their image. You've been lied to. They told you it's ego. Oh, it's ego if I sit up here and I wear. They call this crazy names for the attire that I have on right now. They've been told it's shallow. They've been told it doesn't matter how you show up. Image is not ego. I'm going to repeat that again. Image is not ego. Image is communication. Your clothes are language. Your fit is grammar. Your intention is your tone. And again, integrity means, and how you show up is a reflection of your integrity. Integrity means the same man that shows up everywhere, the same man shows up everywhere he is. Alignment means the outside tells the same story as the inside. They don't have to question. They see who you are. They know who you are. And I'm going to say something that's going to hit home to a lot of guys when I say this. This is where the women usually nod in their heads, yes, because women see this immediately. Immediately. They don't debate it, they don't argue it, they observe it. And while, let's be very clear, this isn't about relationship advice. I'm not here to be your relationship guru. Don't want that at all. But I'd be lying to you if I told you it didn't matter, because it does. You see, women lose confidence in the story a man is telling them about himself. And once that confidence drops, the expectations quietly change. It just blows away. This is why I don't start with suits, because tailoring fabric without correcting alignment is pointless. I don't correct clothes, I correct alignment. And this is a conversation about alignment. And once the alignment is right, the suit becomes obvious. The fit becomes obvious. The decision becomes simple. It's that simple. And it starts in your mind. You ever heard, I'm sure many of you have heard the term, the suit makes the man? Absolutely not. It's the man that makes the suit, but it's the mentality of the man that makes the suit, that makes his presentation, whether it's business, business casual, whether he's going out for a walk, showing up at the grocery store. How you represent yourself matters to the world. Because what happens is this: when they see you, they make a determination of whether you're good or bad. If you're walking, they're going to see you first with their eyes and secondly with their ears. But both of them have a direct connection to your master processor, which is your brain, which leads to your heart, that tells them, hey, if it's a lady and you're stepping into an elevator, is she going to clutch her purse? And I don't mean this just for people, the stereotypical way that we know it happens. Is she going to clutch her purse? If you step into a lady, she's making a determination. She's looking at you and she's listening to you. Is she going to give you an opportunity to go out on that date? Is she going to exchange numbers with you? If you're sitting in front of a potential employer, he or she is going to look at you and say, should I hire this individual? Can I trust them? Do I need, do I want them to be the leader of my team? Do I see them being a part of our organization long term? Or let's get them out of the way? Understand something. I want to leave you with something very important. And I need you to understand this and take this into account. You don't get unlimited chances to be understood. That's not how it works in this life. That's not how it works in this world. You don't. You don't get a second chance to make a first impression. You have to start somewhere. The alignment of your mind, the alignment of your heart is reflected by the way that you present yourself to the world. And I need you to understand this. Every room you walk into is responding to something. The question is whether it's responding to the truth of who you are or a misinterpretation of who you are. My mentor once told me this. He said, Big Papa, that was his nickname for me. Big Papa, control the controllables. Control the controllables. And one of the controllables that I understood from day one, and I want you to burn this into your head, write this down with a pen if you have to, type it into your phone. You and only you control your controllables. You and only you are responsible for the way that you show up in the world. To be very clear, I don't convince men. I don't chase decisions. And I don't work with everyone. I'm unapologetic about that. But if you're ready to stop being misinterpreted and you want clarity and whether your image, you want clarity on whether your image is helping you or if your image is hurting you, then DM me the word fit. That's it. It's that simple. Because understand, the right men don't need pressure. They need alignment. I'm going to repeat that one more time. The right men don't need pressure. They need alignment. I love you, son, and I always want the best for you.